I need help. Jennifer and Cohen, look at you, Mark. You're official now.
Susie, sit down, please.
No.
Susie, sit down.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
You think she's still president or something?
Yeah, right. No.
Welcome, everyone, to the friendliest club in 6110. We're so glad to have you guys here today. As you know, we've had a busy couple of weeks. We've had a lot of outings. We went to, where all we've been? OK Pop, which was a wonderful thing that you might have seen on the front page of the Tulsa World. So that's pretty cool. Thank you, Mark, for organizing all of that. That was really fun. And then we've just kind of been all over the place these last few weeks. This is our first time back in 3 weeks, is that right? Yeah, so I'm glad to be back to Baxter's and our wonderful staff here. Don't forget to tip your waiter. And going from, let's see, moment of inspiration, that was what I was going to use, was the newspaper article. So thanks again for
That's inspiring.
Very inspiring to do that. We have some visitors with us, and I didn't get everyone's name, so if you wouldn't mind, maybe just kind of standing up and just sharing who you're with and why you're here today.
I'm Barney James. I'm with the Rotary Club of Tulsa, and I'm here because I know half your club anyway.
And you still came. That's impressive. That's good for us.
My name is Lindsay. I'm with the Rotary of Owasso, and I'm here today because of Stan, Laura, and Susan.
They can be pretty persuasive. And then we have, if you don't mind, sorry,
Peter Rice and Jenny's son.
And of course we have Josh. We'll get to him in just a quick moment. Do we have any birthdays or anniversaries this week? My birthday's Saturday. Yes. If you are able, on Thursday, on the border, the 71st location and the 41st location are doing give back nights for my work at Pause for Pause. It's an all-day thing from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. So if you go to either of those locations on Thursday and mention Pause for Pause, we get a portion of the proceeds. I'll be at the 41st Street location for lunch and dinner, and I'm inviting quite a few people from my Facebook page and stuff to kind of just do an early celebration of my birthday, try to get people out there. So I would love to see your faces out there. Again, I'll be at the 41st Street, but we will have a team at the 71st Street store as well. I also put a little flyer for an upcoming trivia night that some of you guys got at the Empire Pizza last week. If you're able to help with that.
Let's go for happy hour.
Happy hour. Everybody loves it. Let's see, also, we have Dan's birthdays on the 15th. He's not here. And Nikki Dennis on the 27th. Who's Nikki Dennis?
She's
a social member.
Oh,
Yeah.
she's former principal of Rogers.
Oh, okay. Oh, of
Yeah,
course.
she was-
I know who that is now. Sorry, my brain. You can tell we're a pretty informal club for those of you visiting today. I do have a special award to give out today that they don't know about, I don't think. Susie, did you want to do that, or did you want me to do it? You want me to do it, all right? The presentation of the Paul Harris Fellow recognition is the Rotary Foundation way of expressing its application for a substantial contribution to the humanitarian and educational program that is named after Rotary's founder, a Chicago lawyer who started our organization in 1905. A world of peace and goodwill comes closer to reality as, let's see, Stan Young becomes a Paul Harris Fellow. This comes with a gift of $1,000 to the U.S. and the Rotary Foundation's educational and humanitarian programs, commitment to peace and a better life for people. It's because of these such gifts, you can come on up, Stan. To receive, the foundation can carry out an array of programs and achieve beneficial change in the world. Improve living conditions, increase food production, better education, wilder availability of treatment and rehab for the sick and disabled, new channels of flow for international understanding, and brighter hopes for peace. Please join me in showing an appreciation to our Paul Harris Fellow. Thank you.
Right, gentlemen, presentation.
Here's your little thing.
Yay.
Your
Great
Emerald
job.
10.
Good job, Stan.
My emerald pen.
I think so.
Okay.
Let's see if I gotta ask you anything else, I'm sorry. In becoming a Paul Harris Fellow, today, Stan, you join a remarkable company of persons throughout the world. They are recognized for their devotion for the ideal of good will, peace, and understanding, a goal of the Rotarians, and over one that you share with everyone else. Stan, it gives me great pleasure to present you with this emblem of our appreciation given to a Paul Harris Fellow. Don't have your certificate, it's coming, but there's your pen, and thank you for your commitment to the programs of Rotary. Please, let's thank him again. Be quick, no horses.
Shucks, folks.
A first. I stand speechless, I love it. Thank you very much, Stan. Also on that list that we need to invite for next week, who I'm not real close with, but someone else should, Larry Johnson will also be getting a fellowship pin as well. I believe he was at Empire and OK Pop last week. I didn't get a chance to chat with him too much. So thank you very much, Stan. It's very well deserved and honored. All right. Josh, oh yes, I'm sorry. Got one more announcement. Please come up here and share.
Next week, I sent an email out about meeting at Meals on Wheels. They are treating us to lunch, and so, I asked you to get back to me. I had told her there would be about 15 people, and so far, I have 11 on the list. Wow. So, these are the people I have, just to make sure. Susie, Rob, Larry and Ann Harrell, me, Patty Grice, Tom and Karen Gilbert, Phil, Mark Youngblood, and Jeff James.
You can add me to that.
So if it's next week, Tuesday at noon, if you think you want to be there, let me know. If I get more than 15, I'm gonna reach back out to her. You may have to help contribute or something. So, tell me now if you can, if you think you can go.
Everybody at once.
Okay, Jenny, you're going.
So while we're talking about food.
Laura, I think you're going.
I'm on the boat,
You're not.
sorry.
Peter?
Meals on Wheels.
Meals on Wheels.
It's on 51st and Yale.
They're by the
Or,
side.
yeah.
Place they built it out.
Yeah, I've been eating it.
Yeah, it's really, you got stacked containers up there. It's amazing.
Stan, you are on the list.
Which,
Meals on
Meals
Wheels
on
next
Wheels?
week.
oh yeah, I'm gonna be there. Where are we meeting?
Meals on Wheels at 51st and Yale.
Down the street from my house.
I'll send out another email, but I just need to let them know. Jeff, you and Pat? Okay, all right.
Do you have a date you need to know by?
I'm gonna turn in the number this Friday.
Okay.
I'll reach out to her first and see if, we have some flexibility or what we can do if we get more people. Okay.
Great, thank you. And Susie, you have an announcement?
So
too?
while we're talking about food, as you know, we divvied up who's gonna bring, food to our meetings at Will Rogers, which are gonna start here week after next. And, what? We did.
I've got it right over here.
I think Evan has it. Stan is our first one. But anyway, I've handed out just kind of some guidelines for, those monthly meetings. If you would look over those real quick and let me know if there's anything I need to add or take away. It's not that hard, it's just a lot of schlepping. And the club will provide plates and napkins. If you need something that has utensils, be sure and bring those. Check with Stan about water, cause he's got water, I've got water, so we don't wanna always have extra water. Keep your receipts for reimbursement. We will have a bucket there for you to donate for the lunch, but we wanna do all the reimbursements through the club. Yeah, Stan.
Can I add to that? We've set up an event for our first meeting at school. I put it out to my high school class of 77. That's the 50th anniversary of our first day at Rogers.
That's cool.
Wow.
And
That's cool.
I'll get the head count because I'm buying the pizza.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Okay,
that's
we're
very
gonna have pizza, we're gonna have pan au chocolat, we're gonna have veggie trays
Nice.
and water. Okay.
Wonderful.
Anybody?
The list is going around right now of the next few Rogers lunches. So you might want to look at that, just make sure you committed.
And if you think of something else that I'm leaving on, please let me know, because this is just kind of a rough draft. And also, speaking of Will Rogers, Bob's not here today, but I know they're getting ready to have their big 85th anniversary. And that we're gonna be asked to help in some way, usher or something like that, so.
Great, get some
Anyway,
hours in that
oh
way.
goody, look at this, is getting filled up.
And I will go ahead and pass around this list. This is our speaker list through the end of December. And some of you are on this list that you're providing stuff like for the Meals on Wheels one, Debbie's on that. So I'm just gonna pass this around. It stops at January 7th. So if you have any ideas for the new year that you'd like to see, there are blanks. So I'll start passing it around on this side. Stan. Any other announcements or?
Our next medical network.
I need to contact VJ, I'm not sure.
Okay, yeah.
I've not done that yet. I've just got our goals set on our My Rotary page over the weekend after attending the training on Saturday. Thank you, Patty, too, for being on that training too. It was really informative, a little long-winded in parts, but that's such the thing as
That's
Rotary.
another goal, Matt, then.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Yay.
So we got those ones and the media story already fulfilling our goals for this year, so that's pretty cool. Josh Stout has been around Tulsa for, oh yes, sir, sorry.
Pledge. Pledge the.
You were right. She even typed me up a list and I forgot.
Oh,
Would y'all please stand if you're able to join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I'll get it one of these days, I promise. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you kindly. Josh, if you wouldn't mind joining me up here. Josh is a local artist here, and I'm just gonna let him share the work he does, the work he has at his gallery, and what's going on in the Red Fork area. This is one of our Route 66 meetings. You remember Reese Martin and Samantha that we've met before? He highly recommended Josh to share with us today, and looking at doing a social out there for another 5th Tuesday coming up. So, Josh, I'll just let you kind of take the reins here, and everybody welcome Josh, please.
Hey, thanks for having me out, Evan. Appreciate you reaching out. Thanks. For Reese and Samantha to recommend me, that's pretty awesome. But can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Do I need to talk louder and turn this mic up?
Let me see if I can turn it up.
I just got out of a 2-hour meeting that I happen to be the president of currently the Tulsa Route 66 Commission. So it's a mayoral appointed position. And we just had our first meeting back today after a several month break. So we had lots of fun stuff to discuss, but yes, I'm an artist. So that's how I started out. I'll give you a little backstory. I've been doing art for decades. I made a little money, and I thought, I was sitting on a beach with my wife, and I thought, what are we gonna do? Here we are, we have 5 great kids.
did you say
and
5?
5, yeah, 5 spread out. My youngest is 8, my oldest is 25, all points in between, so boys and girls, the ornery mess. So we were looking for something to kind of focus our attention on, long-term investment. So we were out traveling the country, and we went to Florida, we went to New Mexico, Colorado. I was kind of looking for a place to open a gallery, and we got back from Florida. This was around the holidays of 2020.
Oh.
And this little building popped up on Route 66 in a place called Red Fork. And thought, let's go look at it. So me and my wife, we went over there. Well, we wrote the guy a check that night.
Wow.
And so that's kind of how we planted the first seed. We've since bought 5 more buildings in Red Fork. And so that has kind of been our development. It's been our baby, our passion, and kind of what I'm focusing on now and here today, and I can talk about that a little bit. But so kind of got involved in all things Route 66 at that point. I'd never really been a Route 66 enthusiast. I mean, I knew about it, but I didn't realize the global impact that Route 66 has on tourism, for economic development. And so once we kind of started to get into that, really saw the grand scale of what Route 66 could bring to our businesses. Now, me, for an artist, wasn't looking to go to Route 66 just to sell artwork. Route 66 is where my gallery was landing and where I work. And so as we purchase more properties, we definitely are developing those with the Route 66 kind of in mind. All of my properties that we currently invest in are on Route 66. All my tenants are artists. So we're kind of an anomaly a little bit of a developer. Artists are hard people to work with. They're not business people, they're not accountants. They're very, what we call wishy-washy, where I come from. So it's been fun though. So as we've developed into what we have today, now I think I spoke here in 2021, and Mark invited me out. I think he was the president at the time.
Oh, okay.
And we had really just kind of got our feet wet and dipped our toes into the kind of the investment world and the Route 66 world. So now, 3 years later, we're just all in, head over heels, to kind of say. And with that said, we have a huge announcement coming, but I can't tell you today. Just to look out for it. We're developing our 6th property in Red Fork. And for those of you that aren't familiar with Red Fork, I'll give you a little geographical. So it's literally 5 minutes from here. So you get on Southwest Boulevard and you just kind of head west. You go across the river and you wind up in a historic area. The buildings are between turn of the century and 1930. So you have several buildings. My gallery is built in 1902. The building across the street from me, 1920. Several of the other buildings about 1940. So it's a conglomeration of what's left, what hasn't been torn down, and it sits at a stoplight at 40th and Southwest Boulevard. And so we have this kind of spot that I don't want to say it's untouched, but some buildings remain that are 100 years old, and we're trying to save them. So as developers and investors, it usually costs more money to save an older structure, spend more. But I think the rewards, especially for my wife and I, Amanda, and I'll quote her, she loves old shit. Her favorite color is rust. So, with a partner like that, and then me as a visionary artist, we kind of come together and we love history, right? And so that entails these older things and really saving them and the preservation. And that's really what we've got into here lately is how can we preserve these structures but yet breathe new life into them. And so I think the arts help that. And so being so close to downtown, we have lots of opportunities. We have lots of quiet time, and we like that. We do look at investing downtown Tulsa, and I was just talking to Mark about that. We had contracts on a few properties in downtown, but I'm so glad that we moved into Red Fork. It's definitely a different vibe. It's its own kind of community. And 9 o'clock, it's just pretty much quiet. It's not all the ruckus at the bars and those type of nightclubs. So we really enjoy that part of it. We have brought in the last 2 years a stained glass company. We've brought in a recording studio. We've brought in an international business where they sell baskets and blankets, all kinds of things from all over the world. A lot of African baskets, blankets, Indian things from all over. So it's kind of a cultural store, you might say. So these are just a few of the kind of the shops and the artists that we brought in over there. So currently, there's lots of property for sale. So do I have any other investors in the room? No, can't sell anything. Everybody's kind of jumping on the Route 66 bandwagon right now. It's a huge thing. I mean, we have visitors from every part of the world. And so lots of people, longtime property owners, they're really trying to cash in on that. And we have lots of real estate, lots of commercial real estate for sale. Not only in Tulsa, but really all across the country. As far as Route 66 goes, there's huge, iconic restaurants and hotels. But in Red Fork, we have about 5 kind of iconic buildings. Does anybody know Ollie's Restaurant? For sale. Tulsa Stove Hospital, started in 1920, for sale. So a lot of these things that haven't been for sale in many years, been handed down generationally, have come up on the market. So we really, I'm part of a group that's trying to recruit businesses that come in to those. We're reaching out to people like the McNally's group and things like that to try to help us bring this area back to life. And that's what we've done. It's what I didn't realize when we moved over there and started having events is they hadn't had an event in Red Fork in 5 decades. So it was a little bit of a curve to get people to come back to that area and realize that things happen and things go on and that there's new people that's moved in. So it's been a little bit of that curve as far as recruiting patrons, you might say. Does anybody have any questions about Red Fork?
Is Wampa part of Red Fork? Is that the event center, Wampa?
No, so Wampa's further west.
Is it, okay.
And that's on Charles Page Boulevard.
Gotcha.
So we're on Southwest Boulevard.
Southwest Boulevard, okay.
So a little bit of a separation, but we get compared to Wampa quite a bit.
The intersection at the corner there, Red Fork's a unique intersection.
Yeah, it's very unique. I live there and I work there. So my house is there. I'm the only resident on that intersection. We're between 244, Route 66, and the railroad track. So it's a triangle. It's very busy and it's very noisy constantly.
So what are the current boundaries of Red Fork proper now? The ones you just
There's no
described?
boundaries.
Okay.
When we moved over there, like I said, nothing had happened there in years. Most of the buildings were boarded up. We had a lot of houseless people and nefarious activities happening. So that was, but there was a sign, and I'm looking out my window of my gallery, and there's a sign across the street that says Historic Red Fork. And so we just kind of took that as a marketing standpoint and also a history buff, and we took that and ran kind of with that. And I think a lot of people, if you don't know the west side of Tulsa very well, it's a very tight-knit, self-sustaining type of community. And they have a lot of kind of hometown pride, even though they're a part of Tulsa. Their areas, they have a lot of that hometown, small town pride feeling. So they really latched on to the resurgence of the original town of Red Fork. And a lot of multi-generational families in that area. And so that was a positive for us, I think. We look at Red Fork as just the kind of the business district. Now, it is a neighborhood also, but that's kind of how we.
Red Fork initially, back when the city was just becoming built, was a notorious huge oil field.
Yes.
And that, and what they used to call at the time the Glen Pool, which became the town of Glen Pool. You know, they have their Black Gold Days celebration out there and stuff. And I think, are there any old evidence of old drilling sites or anything over there?
I don't think there's old evidence of drilling sites, but there's definitely still wells that are still producing from that time.
I was going to say, because in Tulsa proper, the ordinance was no drilling within the incorporated city limits.
Correct. So this would have been Tulsa County. You know, well, it's in Tulsa. The first oil well drilled in Tulsa County, 1901, was called the Sioux Land, and Sue and her husband, I believe he was a doctor. They incorporated, helped found the town of Red Fork, also the town of Bristow. But they named the first oil well after her, so it was called the Sioux Land #1, and it came online sometime in 1901. It was the first producing oil well. It was the oil well that caused the rush, and so we do hold on to that history, and there are several markers in the area. From what I've heard in my research, is kind of a side shoot of that original well, still producing to this day. So a lot of older wells in that area that are fenced off in those older neighborhoods. Yes.
When I was going to high school in the 50s, we didn't even recognize Webster. It was just Will Rogers
As
and
part of
Central. We didn't even,
TPS?
no, it wasn't part of TPS. We
Right.
didn't even recognize it.
So, pardon my ignorance,
No, go
but
ahead.
with so many artists in that area, do you do like an art walk or anything like that?
We do. So we do an art crawl.
Yeah.
That's on second Fridays every month
Okay,
from April through December.
cool.
And really, we open up all the businesses, all the artists come out. We have extra artists that set up, you know, their booths. And so we probably have 20 to 30 artists that
So
come
that'll
out.
be this Friday then, right?
No, it just passed.
Oh, shoot.
So it was just
What
last
month is
Friday.
this?
But you can come out to the next one.
Okay.
And we cook hot dogs, and we have a band that comes out, and it's kind of still that hometown feel.
Great.
I helped start the downtown Tulsa art crawl 13 years ago.
Wow.
Me and a few other artists, we went downtown and started that. As soon as they built the Guthrie Green, we went down there and kind of started setting up on First Friday. Well, 13 years later, we get about 5,000 people downtown on that First Friday night. The Red Fork, our art crawl on 66 is what we call it. We get about 50 people out. So, you know, it's you gotta start somewhere. And so as an artist and kind of a visionary type person, you know, I always just try to get things kicked off, get them started, get the ball rolling, so to speak. Stand out on the limb, whatever you might call it. That's what my banker tells me. I'm always out on the limb. Bankers don't like to work with artists.
Yeah.
Oxymoron, sort of.
So we kind of consider ourselves partnered with Route 66, and it's called the Will Rogers Highway.
Yeah, yeah.
So are there any volunteer opportunities that we could do in the Red Fork area?
Yeah, lots of volunteer opportunities. So we work real close with a group called Route 66 Main Street. And it's a state Main Street program. It's kind of like a chamber of commerce, so to speak, for that area. and it runs a 5.5 mile district, and I sit on their board. And so that would be the best place to kind of volunteer. We also started a artist nonprofit this year called Red Fork Arts Foundry Tulsa, and we just got incorporated in April. And so we don't have a lot of volunteer opportunities for that yet, but they host a monthly cleanup in the area and just pick up trash and that sort of thing. But the Main Street program is really where the volunteer opportunities are. Yeah, there's a few other nonprofits in the area. A few years ago, I was president of the Route 66 Historical Village, and so they always have volunteer opportunities too, which is another cool thing right there in Red Fork. If you've never been there, we have a restored train. We have the tallest oil derrick in North America, and we have now a replica train depot that's an event center, 4,000 square feet. So very cool spot if you're looking for places to host events or whatnot. We do everything from Easter egg hunts to black tie galas at the train station. So pretty interesting area. The city has invested a lot of capital into that area, and they have really helped us with infrastructure as far as the depot and some other things. I work very close with the city council, which is why I have this badge here. This is where I've been all morning with city councilors, and really being a voice for Red Fork in that area. I'm a voice for all of Route 66, but I try to focus a lot of my attention in Red Fork. And we just passed a $15 million walkability project, and so we're excited for that to kind of kick off in 2025, which is street lights and sidewalks and crosswalks.
Who's your city councilor in that district?
What's that?
Who's your councilor in that district?
Currently, it's Councilor Q, Jeannie Q, but she will be leaving, and so we'll have a brand after 12 years, I believe.
Oh, wow.
And so I've worked with her for the last 5 or 6 years. We're gonna have somebody new, which hopefully, I've tried to meet all the representatives, and I work with not only the Tulsa City Councilors, but the Tulsa County Commissioners. So District 2, which is currently right now is Karen Keith, which will have a new District 2 Commissioner also, as she's running for mayor. But I would have to say, in the last 5 years, working with them, it's, you just gotta come to the table. I don't think anybody from my area that when I moved over there had ever come and sat at the table and had a voice of trying to get those public dollars and that infrastructure dollars. So I was happy to kind of be dubbed the unofficial mayor of Red Fork, because I've been that person. I go to all the meetings and just kind of get involved in too much stuff, which is kind of it's double-edged for me, because on the other side I'm an artist. I love to travel, so all these meetings tend to pin me down sometimes, and I don't enjoy that. But I'm working on it. So, anybody else have any other questions about Red Fork or arts?
I think we're gonna definitely have to schedule a tour to come down there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'd
For
love
sure.
to have you guys out.
I feel bad, I haven't been out there and I can't remember when. And it's literally only 5 minutes away from
Yeah,
here.
it's a very interesting historic part of Tulsa that rarely gets visited by I would say the masses of Tulsa. So that's kind of where I'm working with the local chamber in that area, the Main Street program, to work on their promotions of to let people in Tulsa know that it's, not only that it's there, but that it's being revitalized and all these new businesses and organizations have moved in to kind of get people going back across the river, which is always, I'm not from that area, but from what I can tell, it's always kind of been a barrier. It's always been known as a rough side of town, right? And so that, from the historians that I've met with since I've been over there, that is a long lineage. That went all the way back to cattle drive days, Cowtown. That was the area that the cowboys staged the herds before they would cross the Arkansas River to head further north to the railroad at that time. So I think it always just had a ornery streak, so to speak. I appreciate you having me here today. Right now, I tell you what I'm doing on the art side. I'm working on a very fun, I'll call it a Western cowboy themed project with over 100 pieces of art. So,
Wow.
I'm hoping to have that wrapped up by 2025, 26. I'll have a big show somewhere in the state. I gotta have somewhere that's gonna host 100 pieces of art. So it's kind of, that's on my back burner,
Yeah.
but I'm slowly chipping away at it.
But we've been enjoying, we've gone to Coppolas, Red Like Chicken, Mary Beth came and spoke.
Oh,
not
yeah,
too
Mary
long ago
Beth,
about-
she's a
right
ball
before,
manager.
right after Stella was
Yeah.
installed. And who else do we have from Route 66 that we've, Reese and, Ken Busby.
Ken's coming, yeah.
Yeah, so we're really excited about
Those are all people I work
Yeah.
closely with every day. So it's an exciting, the thing about Route 66, the city has a lot of commissions. There are commissions for everything. The Route 66 commission has all the engagement, has all the cool people, everybody shows up, everybody wants to be engaged. It's really it's what's driving a lot of the tourism in our city right now. So it's kind of an exciting time.
And the 100th anniversary is 2026.
100th anniversary is 2026, and that's really where my focus is as far as the president of the commission. I'm just kicking that ball as hard as I can to, as a lot of you probably know, the city doesn't work fast. So for me as an entrepreneur, I'm working lightning speeds. And so we come together somewhere and try to make something happen.
There are a lot of entities. There's the Alliance, the Commission, the Association, all under the umbrella of Route 66, right?
That's right.
So how do you all communicate? Does everybody meet together?
Well, you know, we have phones. we all text. I stop by their stores. Yeah, it's a lot of crisscrossed paths, and so people like Ken Busby and myself and Reese, we're all a part of lots of different organizations, and so we crisscross. We try to let the business owners do just that and be there. You guys saw Mary Beth, she's like a spark of energy, and she's exciting and lots of ideas, and she was probably up here jumping around with big smiles, and so you don't always want to recruit those people to sit in a meeting all day. You want them out there on the front lines and meeting the people that are coming from Japan and be that person. So I think we've tried to work well to keep the business owners out doing their thing. Us behind the scenes working towards the centennials, and of course we offer grant programs and so much opportunities for the Route 66 investor.
Yeah.
A little plug there.
Definitely.
Well, I respect everybody's time. We do need to go ahead and wrap it up, so let's give Josh just a few things for you. One, this amazing Rotarians of the World cookbook that may or may not have been found in a basement recently.
May have been found.
And then if you wouldn't mind drawing our 50-50 raffle ticket here. You just have to read off the last three numbers. So, email to 190.
Way about you, Pete.
Very nice, congrats.
Nice.
Get
There you
you
go.
your raffle prize here just a bit. Josh, thank you so much.
Hey,
for
thank you.
We really appreciate it.
I know we went to sleep, so.
Yeah, no one's asleep, not yet. Next week, remember, we'll be at Meals on Wheels. Get with her to give the, if you're gonna be able to make it, ask other fellow members to join us. It'll be a fun little outing if you've not been in the Meals on Wheels new building before. Who hasn't? I'm not. So, drive by the T&Y, same time, but over there, so don't show up here. All right, let's do the 4-way test, and then we will adjourn. Is it the truth?
Truth is fair to all concerned. Will build goodwill and better friendships. Will be beneficial to all concerned.
Will it be fine?
Will anyone find out?
Thank you guys, we are adjourned.